We share so much with our pets, don't we? Our homes, our lives, our hearts, really.
Absolutely. That bond is incredibly strong.
And because of that, we all want to do the absolute best for them. But let's face it, sometimes we mess up, even with the best intentions.
Yeah, it happens. We might misread a sign or, reach for something familiar that isn't actually helpful, maybe even harmful.
Which is exactly why we're doing this deep dive today.
Mm-hmm. We've been looking at some of the really common pitfalls, mistakes that even really dedicated owners can make. It's not about blame, of course.
No, not at all.
It's about understanding these, well, unintentional errors so we can all be better caregivers.
Right. So our goal here is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Help you spot these common mistakes and hopefully avoid them.
Yeah, we'll cover quite a range of health stuff, behavior.
All to help your pets live, happier, healthier lives. So let's jump right into a big one. The urge to play vet ourselves.
Oh, yeah. Googling symptoms.
Exactly. Or reaching into our own medicine cabinet.
It's understandable why people do it. There's so much information online now.
Too much, maybe.
Sometimes, yeah. It's a great resource, but for diagnosing your pet, it's pretty risky.
How so?
Well, you see, symptoms that look similar can point to totally different problems in animals. So what seems straightforward might need, like, a very specific veterinary treatment. You just can't tell from a web search.
Okay, and that leads right into thinking our meds are okay for them. That seems like a really common one.
It is. You want to help them feel better fast, right? So you think, oh, this helped my headache. Maybe it'll help the dog's limp.
But that's dangerous.
It can be incredibly dangerous. Things we take without a second thought, ibuprofen, acetaminophen, even some cold medicines can be, well, toxic to pets. Cats especially are really vulnerable.
Why cats in particular?
Their metabolism is just different. They can't process these drugs like we do, or even like dogs sometimes. And dosage is absolutely critical. What's safe for, say, a 150-pound human could be lethal for a 10-pound cat or dog. Their bodies just handle substances differently.
So guessing is really not worth the risk.
Never. A vet knows how to diagnose properly, prescribe the right medication, and crucially, the right dose for that specific animal. It's tailored care.
Okay. Good advice. Now, let's shift gears a bit. Another area where good intentions can go wrong. Food. Overfeeding.
Ah, yes, those pleading eyes.
They're hard to resist, but all those little treats, the table scraps, maybe being a bit too generous with the kibble, it adds up, doesn't it?
It really does. And we're seeing, unfortunately, a big rise in pet obesity. It's a serious problem.
And it leads to other health issues.
Oh, definitely. A whole cascade of them, really. Things like diabetes, arthritis, heart disease. It can even shorten their lifespan. It's not just about looks. It really impacts their quality of life.
And it's not just how much food, but what food, right? We talked about human meds, but human food can be bad too.
Absolutely. Sharing snacks seems like a treat, but some common human foods are genuinely toxic to pets.
Like what? What should people avoid?
Well, the big ones are chocolate, definitely. Onions, garlic, grapes, raisins. Also anything with xylitol.
Oh, the artificial sweetener?
Exactly. It's in a lot of sugar-free gum, candy, even some peanut butters. It can cause a really dangerous drop in blood sugar for dogs very quickly. It's an emergency.
Good to know. What about switching foods often or trying homemade diets?
Yeah, constantly changing their food can really upset their digestion. And homemade diets, well, they sound nice, maybe healthier.
Right.
But getting the nutritional balance right, the vitamins, minerals, everything, it's incredibly difficult without expert help, like from a veterinary nutritionist.
So for most people?
For most pets, a good quality commercial food, one that's specifically designed for their species, their age, breed, activity level, that's usually the safest and best bet.
Okay. Makes sense. Let's talk about something that maybe slips our mind sometimes. Preventative health care.
Waiting until they're obviously sick.
Yeah, we think, oh, they're acting normal. They must be fine.
But pets are masters at hiding illness. It's an instinct, survival.
So by the time we notice something.
By the time the signs are obvious, the condition might be quite advanced. That's why regular checkups are so vital. Vets are trained to pick up on subtle things we'd miss.
And vaccines and parasite control, still important.
Absolutely essential. Vaccines protect against really serious, sometimes fatal diseases. And keeping up with flea, tick, and worm prevention isn't just for the pet's health.
It's for ours, too.
Yes. Some parasites can actually be passed to humans, so it protects the whole family.
Okay. What about dental health? I feel like that gets overlooked a lot.
Hugely overlooked.
Yeah.
Periodontal disease, basically gum disease, is incredibly common. Something like 80% of dogs and 70% of cats over 3 years old have some stage of it.
Wow, that high. And it's more than just bad breath.
Oh, much more. It's painful.
No.
It can lead to tooth loss. And the bacteria from the mouth can actually get into the bloodstream and potentially affect organs like the kidneys, the heart. Seriously. So regular professional cleanings under anesthesia, plus home care like brushing if your pet tolerates it and maybe specific dental chews, it all makes a massive difference.
So, tying this back,
Hmm.
we know checkups are important, but sometimes we still put off going to the vet. Why do you think that happens?
Well, partly that hiding instinct we mentioned, they just don't show they're feeling off until it's quite bad.
So we don't realize there's a problem early on.
Exactly. And then when we finally do notice something obvious, the issue might be more advanced. Treatment then can be harder, maybe less successful, and honestly, often more expensive too.
Right. Early detection is key.
Always. It improves the chances of a good outcome and can definitely save money and heartache in the long run.
All right, let's switch gears now and talk about behavior. A well-behaved pet makes life easier, but we run into challenges. What are some common mistakes here?
A really big one is not prioritizing training and especially early socialization.
And that leads to problems.
It can, sadly. Behavioral issues are actually a major reason pets end up in shelters. Untrained dogs might develop aggression or become really fearful, destructive.
And cats, they seem more independent.
They are, but they still benefit hugely from routine, structured play and an environment that lets them be cats, places to scratch, things to climb. It prevents boredom and stress.
You mentioned socialization. That's not just about playing nice with other dogs, is it?
No, it's much broader. It's
Yeah.
about helping them feel confident and safe around all sorts of things, new places, different sounds, different types of people, other animals. Exposing them positively, especially when they're young, is crucial.
So it builds confidence.
Exactly. It helps prevent fear and anxiety later on. And, sometimes behavior changes aren't just behavioral. They can signal pain or stress, some underlying medical thing.
So always worth checking with the vet if there's a sudden change.
Definitely.
Okay. Now, exercise and keeping their minds busy. I think there's a bit of a myth, especially with dogs, that just having a backyard is enough.
Oh, that's a classic one. A yard is great, don't get me wrong, but for most dogs, especially active breeds, it's just not enough.
They need more.
They need actual structured exercise, daily walks where they can sniff and explore, real playtime with you, maybe puzzle toys or training sessions to work their brains.
And if they don't get that,
Boredom sets in, and a bored dog often finds its own entertainment, which might mean chewing your sofa or barking nonstop. Plus, inactivity isn't good for their physical health either.
makes sense. What about indoor cats? How do we keep them stimulated?
Yeah, it's important for them too. Being indoors is safer in many ways, but it can lead to boredom and obesity if we're not careful.
So what can we do?
Interactive toys are great, especially ones that mimic hunting. Feather wands, laser pointers used carefully, scratching posts are essential, and vertical space. Cats love to climb. Cat trees, shelves. Giving them places to get up high makes a big difference to their well-being.
Good tips. Okay, next up, grooming. Is
Uh,
it just about looking good?
Not at all. Grooming is really a health issue. Neglecting it can cause real problems, such as
Well, for long-haired pets, matting is a big one. Mats pull on the skin. They're painful. They can hide parasites or skin infections.
ouch.
Yeah. Then there are ear infections, often from buildup in the ears. And overgrown nails, they can actually change how a pet walks, affect their posture, cause pain, even grow into the paw pads.
And I guess different pets need different amounts of grooming.
Totally varies. A short-haired cat might just need a quick brush now and then. A dog like a poodle or a shih tzu needs regular professional grooming, plus brushing at home. Long-haired cats often need daily brushing.
So it's about knowing your specific pet's needs.
Exactly. Nail trims, ear checks, keeping the coat in good condition, it's all part of basic preventative care. Okay, this next one, I think we're all guilty of this sometimes. Misinterpreting why our pet is doing something, seeing it through, like, human eyes.
Yes, projecting our own emotions onto them. That happens a lot.
Can you give an example?
Sure, like maybe your dog chews up something while you're out. Your first thought might be, he did that to get back at me for leaving him alone. Spite, right?
Yeah, sounds familiar.
But it's far more likely it's separation anxiety or boredom, or maybe even teething if it's a puppy. Or think about a cat who suddenly stops using the litter box.
You think they're being difficult.
Right. But it could easily be a painful urinary tract infection, or maybe they don't like the new litter, or the box isn't clean enough, or it's in a stressful location. It's usually not malice.
And if we assume it's spite or something?
Then we might punish them, which doesn't help and can actually make things worse by causing fear or anxiety. And crucially, we might miss an underlying medical problem that needs treatment.
So understanding their actual communication is key.
It really is. Learning about normal dog or cat behavior and paying attention to subtle signs of distress helps us care for them much better.
Okay. Let's tackle a topic that often stirs up some debate. Spaying and neutering.
Yeah. People have strong feelings sometimes. Lots of myths out there, too.
But from a health perspective.
From a health and welfare perspective, for the vast majority of pets not involved in responsible breeding programs, spaying or neutering is generally the best choice.
Why is that? What are the risks of not doing it?
Well, unspayed females have a much higher risk of mammary cancer and serious uterine infections called pyometra, which can be fatal. Unneutered males are prone to testicular cancer and prostate problems.
Okay, so clear health benefits. What about behavior?
It can help with certain behaviors too. Things like roaming to find a mate, some types of aggression, urine marking in the house. Neutering can often reduce those tendencies.
And there's the bigger picture issue too, isn't there?
Absolutely. Pet overpopulation is a huge problem. Shelters are overflowing. Unplanned litters are a major contributor to that. Spaying and neutering is the most effective way to prevent adding to that problem.
So unless you're a responsible breeder.
It's generally the best thing for your pet's health and for the wider animal community.
Right. Okay, last big topic, how we train them.
Okay.
Specifically, punishment versus positive reinforcement.
Yeah, this is a really important one. The old ways, yelling, hitting, using harsh tools like choke chains or prong collars. We now know that's often counterproductive and can be harmful.
Harmful how?
It damages the bond, the trust between you and your pet. It can create fear, anxiety. Maybe the dog stops doing the bad thing when you're right there, but it doesn't learn what you want it to do instead. And it doesn't fix the underlying reason for the behavior.
So what's the alternative?
Positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
It's much more effective and humane. Basically, you reward the behaviors you want to see.
With treats.
Treats, praise, toys, affection, whatever motivates your pet. When they do something right, you mark it maybe with a clicker or a word like yes, and immediately give a reward.
And that works better.
Much better. It builds positive associations. The pet learns, oh, when I do this, good things happen. They become eager to offer those behaviors. They thrive when expectations are clear and they feel safe. Punishment just creates confusion and anxiety and can even make behavior problems worse.
It really focuses on building that relationship.
Exactly. It's about clear communication and trust, not fear.
Wow. This has been incredibly insightful. It really shows that being a good pet owner is like an ongoing process of learning.
It really is. We all want the best for them.
Definitely. And hopefully reflecting on some of these common missteps helps everyone.
Yeah, and just remembering to talk to your vet. They're the best resource when you have questions or worries. That's key to giving our pets those long, healthy, happy lives we all want for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's something for you, our listeners, to think about. Considering how deeply intertwined our lives are with our pets, what's maybe one small change you could make in your daily routine starting tomorrow that could make the biggest positive difference in their life?